And just to talk about his teacher Ibrahim an-Nakhai, he's also, like I said, he's also one of the recognized scholars, one of the biggest tabi'in, one of the biggest, because Abu Hanifa, since he's a tabi'in, but he's one of the late tabi'in by far. Okay, because he was born 80 after Hijri. He just met Anas bin Malik and that was it. Okay, so he's not like the other tabi'in, the early tabi'in who met Sahaba, spent a long time with them, like Imam Hassan al-Basri, Ata bin Abi Rabah, who spent a long time with the Sahaba. Okay, so he's one of the late tabi'in. While Ibrahim an-Nakhai, he was one of the, he's one of the established tabi'in. And he also, when he saw some of the rulers doing unjust acts, and during the early years, people like to think that they were, all the scholars, right, didn't do any rebellions, but this is not true. Okay, Ibrahim an-Nakhai, he's one of those people who revolted against the Khalifa of his time. Okay, and and Sa'id bin Jubair, he said when the people of Kufa used to come to him asking fatwas, he would say to them that you asked me to give you fatwas and you have with you Ibrahim an-Nakhai. So and also, he was saying basically that basically he's trying to say that you come to me, and Sa'id bin Jubair is a recognized scholar, you come to me to ask to get fatwas, right? When you have this man Ibrahim, who is he's also a recognized scholar, and he was somebody who was who used to speak for the truth. And once when he saw one of the amirs walking, very proudly, he said to him right to his face that this is not the way. This is not the way that the Muslims walk, right to his face. And it is said that the fiqh of Abu Hanifa actually comes from Ibrahim an-Nakhai, because Ibrahim an-Nakhai, he's the one who gained knowledge from the Sahaba. So he's the one. So the roots come to Ibrahim an-Nakhai, and from him, Hamad learned his knowledge, and from him Abu Hanifa. Okay, so there's pretty much a direct chain. And Ibrahim an-Nakhai learned his knowledge from a number of scholars. And in fact, once towards the end of Abu Hanifa's time, he entered upon the court of Abu Ja'far al-Mansur, one of the Abbasi Khalifas, and he says to Abu Hanifa, Ya Abu Hanifa, because like I said, there were many people who had hasad, who were envious of Abu Hanifa, saying that, said many different things about him that were bad about him. He says to him, Ya Abu Hanifa, an man akhadta al-ilm? O Abu Hanifa, from whom did you take knowledge? And Abu Hanifa, he said, Qultu faqultu, I said, an Hamad, an Ibrahim, an Umar bin al-Khattab, an Ali bin Abi Talib, an Abdullah bin Mas'ud, wa Abdullah bin Abbas. Which means that when the Khalifa said to him that from whom do you take knowledge, Abu Hanifa, he said that I took knowledge from Hamad, who took it from Ibrahim, who took it from Umar bin al-Khattab, who took it from Ali bin Abi Talib, who took it from Ali bin Abi Talib, and Abdullah bin Mas'ud, and Abdullah bin Abbas. Okay, and then Abu Ja'far al-Mansur, he said, bakhin, which means excellent, that's enough. I'm happy now. Your credentials, you can't have better than that, basically. So this is something about this just to give you something about something about his main teacher. Also, as inshallah you'll see later on, right, that Abu Hanifa, he's very generous to his students. And once one of his students, Abu Yusuf, says to him that that something like Wallahi, I have not seen anyone more generous than you. Okay, because Abu Hanifa, he basically funded Abu Yusuf, his student, for roughly 20 years. For him and his family, for roughly 20 years, he funded him. Okay, gave him money for his living and expenses, whatever. And Abu Hanifa, he replied to that by saying that how would it have been if you had seen Hamad? How would it have been if you had seen Hamad? This generosity that you see me doing, I learned this from Hamad. this adab, I learned this from Hammad. So it's not just knowledge he gained, it's not just knowledge you gain, but rather you gain adab, you gain manners, you gain other things. And this is what really makes a person. It's not the knowledge, it's other things with the knowledge that forces him towards something. As for Imam al-Sha'bi, who I've just talked about earlier, who's the main guy, who's the main scholar who inspired him, he died 103 after Hijri. Okay, when Abu Hanifa was roughly 23, so he didn't gain that much knowledge from him. But whatever little he gained from him, was obviously significant, because he was the main person who inspired him to start gaining knowledge. And like I said to you earlier, Muhammad bin Sirin said that Imam Sha'bi, he was a recognized scholar during the lifetimes of the Sahaba. He was that intelligent, he was that smart. And also, obviously he gained, obviously he gained a lot of adab from him as well. And one of the statements of and Imam Sha'bi, one of the things what was renowned for was his patience, especially if people were rude to him, patience in gaining knowledge as well. But there's a very famous statement that comes from him that somebody once abused him. Okay, somebody once abused him, and he replied back to him, and he said to him that in kunta sadiqan ghafara Allahu li. That when this man abused him, right, said something really bad about him, he said to him that if you are truthful about what you are saying, then may Allah forgive me. Wa in kunta kadhiban, and if you are a liar about what you're saying, ghafara Allahu lak, that may Allah forgive you. And then he walked away. That was the end of the matter. That if you are truthful, then may Allah forgive you, and if you are lying, then may Allah forgive you. He didn't reply back to him. He didn't start cursing him back. He said, he called it that, and that was it. And that would have more effect of a person than if you start abusing him back. But that's the way of the scholars. They didn't get involved in these type of things. Another of the scholars that he gained knowledge from was Ata ibn Abi Rabah. Okay, who is, if I'm not mistaken, who's the freed slave of Abdullah bin Umar. Okay, he grew up in Makkah. He lived in Makkah, even though he's from the people of Yemen, and he was, Habashi. Okay, he was black. Okay, he obviously gained knowledge from some of the main scholars. Okay, he was such a recognized scholar that during the time of Hajj, an announcement would be made in Makkah that no one should give fatwa except Ata bin Abi Rabah, and then his student. Okay, and he also was of the scholars that rebelled against the rulers of his time, so much so that he had his hand cut off during one of the wars. Ata bin Abi Rabah had his hands cut off when he revolted against, I think it was Hajjaj, if I'm not mistaken. But he revolted against one of the khulafa of his time, and he had his hand cut off. And Abu Hanifa, he gained a lot of knowledge from him, because Abu Hanifa, he would travel a lot. Okay, he would travel to different cities a lot. And it said that Abu Hanifa, concerning Makkah, he made Hajj roughly 55 times. Okay, so he died at the age of 70. So you can work that from yourself, the calculations from that. But he says about Ata bin Abi Rabah, he says about Ata bin Abi Rabah that verily I did not see anybody better than Ata. I didn't see anybody better, in any way than Ata bin Abi Rabah. Some of his other scholars that I would like to talk about, but there's no time, was Nafi'i, a recognized scholar. Imam Baqir, who was one of the sons of, who's the son of Zayn al-Abidin, who's the son of Hussein, who's son of Ali bin Abi Talib, i.e. one of the descendants of Ali radiallahu anhu, who is also a recognized scholar. He also was a student of Ja'far al-Sadiq, was also one of the recognized scholars, and other scholars as well, whom basically I don't have time to speak about right now. Going further, talking about his knowledge, his wisdom. Like I said to you earlier, there's a lot of controversy about his knowledge. Okay, but hopefully, inshallah, I've cleared this by telling you statements from the people who actually knew him. Okay, And also the effect of his knowledge, this is apparent. If you go to the Muslim world today, you'll see the Hanafi fiqh, how it's spread. You'll see that if you study fiqh anywhere, you see when you study contemporary fiqh al-Muqarin, fiqh of all schools, they obviously study the fiqh of Abu Hanifa or the fiqh of his school. Okay, and Imam Shafi, he would say that people are all children of Abu Hanifa in fiqh. And the thing about Abu Hanifa in specific was he was one of the first people to start classifying fiqh into areas. Like he would say, this is the fiqh of salah, so put into this section. This is the fiqh of zakah, put into this section. He's the first from amongst the ulama to start doing this. Okay, and that's why when you heard the statement of that earlier scholar saying that it's a ability upon all people of the earth to make dua for him, because he's the first man to have such a great deep knowledge of fiqh, to start thinking in this way, to start classifying it, so therefore making the matter easy upon the people. And he was very careful about giving fatwas. And in fact, when somebody said to him that that you should fear Allah in giving fatwas, he said that if it wasn't for the fact that Allah would ask me about my knowledge, I would not give fatwas. It's because the fact that Allah is going to ask me about this knowledge. This is why I give fatwas. And he was also he was in his wisdom, he was in his hikmah, result of the fiqh he gained, right, of life and of the deen, that he would stay away from the government. He wouldn't take any governmental positions. And I've already mentioned to you, right, how oppressive they were. But at the same time, there were also many scholars who did take governmental positions, and this is two different schools of thought, and it's not our place to go into it right now today. Just to mention his physical appearance, he was of medium height, he was of handsome features, he was not very short, he was well spoken, he's very articulate. Okay, when he spoke of a problem, they say that he could make the most hardest of problems simple for the people, and he would always speak to the level of the people, and this is how he would solve their problems. Okay, his way of dress was that he would wear the best of clothes. Some people they wear tattered clothes. They wear clothes that aren't that so good, but he would always wear the best of clothes, and he was recognized for this. And even when he would go to salah, he'd wear the best of clothes. In fact, people would say to him that the clothes that you wear for salah, people wear these type of clothes when they go see the rulers or when they go to weddings. And he would say to them that verily, Allah has more right that you should make yourself beautiful for him than the people do.